Earlier this year I went to Berlin for the Berlin Short Film Festival because one of the films I directed actually got selected for it, and I wanted to share my experience of being in Berlin for such a short amount of time and basically another solo travel trip. So I landed in Berlin early Friday morning. My flight was at 6 AM. So I had the whole of Friday. The film festival was Saturday evening, so I decided, because it was a work trip anyway, that I was going to work on my grad project, which I've mentioned a little bit in my blogs and on my social media. I decided to do some screenwriting at a co-working space. It was actually really cool place. A lot of English speaking there as well, which made it a little bit easier for me. So I ended up screenwriting for about 3-4 hours. I decided to go to my hostel. I stayed in a 4-bed dorm this time instead of 12, just because it was a short trip and I kind of wanted better sleep because of the fact that my flights were early, etc. The hostel I stayed at was East 7 Hostel. I literally arrived at the door of the hostel and made friends straight away before I'd even got into the building because we were both looked out. So that was Jeff, and I ended up meeting someone who's in my dorm, so Jake, and then it ended up being that we went for coffee and for Wi-Fi because the hostel's Wi-Fi was down when we arrived, and from there it ended up being from 2 of us to suddenly like 10 of us, sorry, from 3 of us, as in me meeting 2 people, to suddenly there being like 10, I think there was 10 or 12 of us, or 8. We decided to go as a massive group and just explore Berlin. One of the guys was from Hamburg and he was like sort of telling us a little bit of the history of certain parts and buildings that we saw, which was actually really awesome because it felt like a free guided tour. Well, there were so many people from different countries. There was a lot of people from the US. I was the only Brit, which meant that my accent was picked up on multiple times. That evening we ended up getting cocktails. Well, I got a cocktail, the others got beer. I'm not into beer, even though German beer is like one of the best beers, if not the best beer. But I'm just not a beer fan, so I had a mojito, which was basically just pure rum because the guy didn't mix it. Not that I'm complaining as a Brit. Obviously we don't complain about more alcohol, but it was very strong. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. And when you're not on holiday in the sun, like, you feel the alcohol a little bit more. It's not like a ooh, it's more of a The next day we decided to go, well, Jeff suggested that we went on this alternative tour. It was mainly around the street art and the history through that and how that's evolved, as well as like a little bit of the like touristy stuff, and it was actually incredible. So the artist who runs some of the alternative tours, he was amazing. His store was so cool. Like, honestly, it was just amazing. The whole day was amazing. Please check out his artwork. Like, please check out the tours, because that tour was ideal to be able to embrace Berlin for what it is and how artsy and edgy and cool it is. So that was good fun. I feel like I made a lot of friends during this trip. I know that I can still contact these people, even though it was like 2 days that we spent together. It was just the best thing ever. On this alternative tour, it ended in a place called Yam. I can't explain the vibe that was there. It was just amazing. I had the most amazing food. There was reggae music in the background, like so much artwork around. It was just the coolest place ever, and it was right by the East Side Wall, which we then explored by ourselves afterwards as well.
ABC tour of Italy, and here we have another beautiful church.
Yeah. You have to go more left.
Finally, Saturday evening, it got to the point where I realised why I had come on this trip, which is for the Berlin Short Film Festival. The festival was amazing. I didn't take much footage, but it was so good. Such a great experience. Got to see our film on the big screen. Not only is it the first one that I've been selected for, but also it was just an embracing moment for all of us to be spending the time in a different country, like being able to see our film on the screen. Like, it was just amazing. So I am very grateful to Awkward Branch Productions anyway for letting me direct that and bringing me on board. Like, it was an amazing experience to go to Berlin as well.
You don't do this? No. You just eat all the splinters?
No. I was flying the next morning. My flight was at 6, so it meant I had to get to the airport for 4. So I decided that I was going to stay up all night and just get a taxi and sleep when I got home or on the plane. Thankfully, Jake stayed up with me. We had like the longest chat with another guy as well. I don't remember his name, but it was like an all-night chat. It was insane. I mean, luckily Jake was like still jet-lagged from America, but I am very thankful that he stayed up with me because I was falling asleep. It's one thing that I really appreciate from solo travel. First of all, I didn't even really think about the fact I was like traveling solo because it was such a quick trip. I had my goals and I basically met someone as soon as I landed. Basically, I was already talking to people, so it didn't feel solo, which is what they always say. But it was an amazing trip, and I'd like to say that I've made friends for life, as I always feel like I have at least one person from the trip I like stay in contact with. So yeah. I hope you enjoyed this vlog. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and also check out some of my other like videos. Subscribe. Bye.